Good morning. Thank you for being here, and welcome to the second roundtable of the morning. As you see in the title of the As you see in the title of the roundtable, Beyond eBooks, the purpose of this morning is to share thoughts among us on how can we, as book industry members, publishers, mainly digital distributors, how can we take advantage of the assets that we have in this industry that is an industry that, as we all know, is very conservative, mature. How can we shake it a little bit and make it bigger and help this industry to have a better positioning in what we said previously, or the previous roundtable, they said about the entertainment and educational environment and market where we are. We are playing with other competitors, and we have to find this positioning. Since, as they were saying yesterday and previously, basically the main asset that we have is the intellectual property of the author. So the challenge will be for us to identify how can we expand this use this intellectual property in different formats that we will talk today this morning, like not only books, not only ebooks, not only audiobooks, but also games, but also audiovisual content, to make this IP of the author and the message that is behind this IP to reach new territories, new audiences, etc. So this hypermedia approach is the purpose of the roundtable, and for that we have three people that already have experimented with these approaches, and for sure they can give us some takeaways and learnings of that. I will give them 3 minutes or 5 minutes to introduce themselves, but just a few introduction of Jesus Vega. Jesus Vega is one of the strategic advisors of Biblium, that is a Spanish platform that focuses in the Spanish and Latin American market for digital content in several formats, more audiovisual, but other formats also, of people that want to learn and teach different topics. Then we have Roger Domingo from Grupo Planeta, is probably one of the publishers that has worked harder on this strategy of mixing formats for the authors that he manages in several non-fiction imprints in Planeta. And Thomas Sorjama, he's the manager of acquisitions and licensing in Kaiken entertainment company in Finland. He's a company, a very young company that started from the beginning with this philosophy of finding and discovering intellectual property and commercializing it. Therefore, I leave the word to Jesus for you to start explaining us a little bit Biblium, and after they talk, we will start the debate.
Thank you very much. Buenos días. Good morning. Bonjour. Guten Morgen. Buongiorno. Anyone else? Okay. Bon dia. For my Catalan people. And bon dia for the Portuguese. My name is Jesus Vega. I represent Biblium here. And Biblium is a hypermedia company. So let the video work for me.
Compartir. En eso consiste la vida. Compartir momentos, experiencias, conocimiento. Compartir es avanzar, es crecer. Progresar. Todo lo que hemos conseguido, lo que somos, forma parte de la generosidad de un mundo y de la globalidad de un sistema. Conocimientos que generan nuevos conocimientos. Redes de aprendizaje que alimentan el motor del desarrollo humano. Y todos podemos y debemos aportar algo a ese mundo. Porque las cosas que guardas mueren contigo. Pero lo que compartes se vuelve inmortal. Entra en biblium.com, comparte lo que sabes y gana dinero enseñando a otros en un ecosistema seguro que te devuelve tu dignidad como autor. Spotify democratizó el consumo de música. Facebook, Instagram y YouTube revolucionaron la forma de comunicarnos. Y ahora Biblium ha reinventado la forma de enseñar y de aprender. Bienvenido a biblium.com, la plataforma que une a los que quieren aprender con los que quieren enseñar.
So, I have a question for you. Of everything you learned in the university, in the school, all the topics, all the issues you learned, how much of those topics, how much of that knowledge are you applying on your present job, on your present business? Let's be honest. 50%, maybe less. 10, maybe less. In my case, maybe less than 1%. That means that knowledge is more needed than ever, because all of us need to know what is happening in the business, what is happening in the techniques, what is happening in the technology, what is happening in the world. But we need it now, and we need it in a very open way. So, taking into account that knowledge is more needed than ever, taking into account that technology is giving us the tools to get that knowledge and to use it in our jobs, in our businesses. What is happening is that there is no clear correspondence between the rights of the authors and the need of the people who need that knowledge. So Biblium has been set up in order to provide a platform where people can learn and people can teach. Biblium provides the structure, Biblium provides the techniques, the technology, in order to provide that the way that authors can get money, and not like in the other platforms where only the platform is winning money in the business. So Biblium is there to give money also to the authors. Biblium is also a platform where we are using a collaborative strategy. That means that everyone can teach and everyone can learn. And we can use the same tools. But we will talk a little bit about that later on.
So, Roger?
Buenos días, good morning. How are you? I come from Planeta Hypermedia, which is an hypermedia company belonging to Grupo Planeta, which some of you might know. Grupo Planeta is the largest Spanish and media conglomerate, and it's a company that we basically transform our content into digital products. But we can see also a video.
Cambio. El mundo evoluciona a nuestro alrededor. Cambian las costumbres, cambian los gustos y las aficiones, cambian las ideas y el modo de expresarlas. Cambiamos. Lo que no cambia es nuestra necesidad de transmitir, de comunicarnos, de crear. Grupo Planeta. Tras más de 50 años de experiencia en el sector editorial y de comunicación, abre una nueva vía en la creación y producción de contenidos digitales. Nace Planeta Hypermedia, un nuevo lenguaje para un nuevo escenario. Un laboratorio creativo en el que una red de profesionales expertos trabaja conjuntamente con nuestros autores especializados de mayor renombre. Sea cual sea tu sector, en Planeta Hypermedia ponemos a tu disposición contenido especializado de máxima calidad y la red más amplia de autores expertos para concebir, diseñar y producir soluciones personalizadas para tus necesidades de formación, comunicación y marketing. Soluciones adaptadas a los nuevos cánones de comunicación digital, incorporando las últimas tendencias en contenidos interactivos y narrativa transmedia. Formación in company, entretenimiento formativo, content marketing, redes sociales, comunicación corporativa. Todo ello con la calidad que nos avala como el primer grupo editorial y de comunicación del país. Nuestro mundo sigue cambiando, evolucionando cada día. Nosotros cambiamos junto a él y evolucionamos. Crecemos para ser mejores, para poder, por mucho que todo cambie, seguir cerca de ti.
So basically, the idea is that we are a traditional book publishers, but now through Planeta Hypermedia, what we do is to convert that content that originally probably has been thought in a printed format to digital content, both on a B2B side and a B2C side. On B2B, basically, we sell that content to companies that do need to communicate, and they want an expert, whoever is the expert, any topic, for their own videos or their own communication platforms. Or B2C, and we convert what traditionally has been a book, we convert the content of the book into a digital active that we sell through different distributors to different outlets. Just for the person that want to learn or want to get into this content, but not on a printed or on ebook form, but they want to have this content through their PC, their cell phone, or their tablet. So basically, that's the idea.
Thank you. I'm going to stand up for my part. See if we can make this. Those of you that were here yesterday, you already heard most of this, but repetition is the key of learning, so I'm going to be very brief with my 2 minutes. Kaiken Entertainment is a small entertainment company based in Helsinki, Finland, in Vancouver, in Canada, and we also have an office in LA. What we do is we create original content and find new content also from outside. I mean, we work with all kinds of medias. We work with TV, publishing, licensing, merchandising, and games. So what we do is we look for original ideas and original content, which we can transform into multimedia franchises. So we work with kids and teens. We do also have an literary agency list. We have loads of comics which are for adults, but that's the only one. Our own content is only for kids and teens, and these are all the medias and platforms that we work with. So we work with so many different outlets. We're not a publisher ourselves, so we work with publishers globally. We work with TV broadcasters globally. We work with SVOD platforms, toy manufacturers, consumer products, everywhere globally. When we work with third-party brands, we represent them as a licensing agent, either globally or in various territories. And we also work through a local network of sub-agents. So it's very hard to pinpoint what it is that we do, because we do so much and we work in all medias. I'll show you quick video of our own content.
Guys, ready for a new adventure?
Baxter, buddy, we finally made it.
Get set, go! Eyes on the horizon, can't catch me. Eyes on my side, it's supposed to be easy. Get set, go! Pull the trigger, kick it out. Get set, go!
So yeah, that's a short reel of all of our own IPs, with some of the things that are not ours but are third-party IPs as well. So you might have recognized the Angry Birds there with the new film coming out next year. Make sure you don't miss that. So well, let's get on with the program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thomas. So the first question for you, for the three of you, is you are exploring different formats, the hypermedia multi-format approach. In each case, you explain. So, which is the strategy, or at least how do you decide which kind of product you will send to each channel, or which kind of with the content? How will you say this? This will be a book, only a book. This will be a book and a class. This will be a movie. How do you do these choices? It's based on I understand, an analysis, market analysis, but how do you do this approach? And do you think that it's possible for a digital player everywhere in the world to not to do so? Meaning, do you think it's possible to be sustainable only with format? Or I understand that you have gone beyond that, but just can you share with us the process to do this selection on how to organize the products? If you want to...
Sure. Well, on our side at Planeta and myself as a publisher, when I approach to an author, what I try is to get all the different formats possible. I acquire the rights for the book, of course, also the ebook rights, of course. We've been doing that for almost 10 years. Lately, the audiobooks. And also, I contract him the right to sell their conferences and the right to sell, so to distribute all their digital actives. So the right to be able to convert that content on a digital product that we can sell. We can sell both B2B, B2C. How do we decide? To be honest, it's a trial and error. We've been in the last 4 years, which is the number of years that we've been working with Planeta Hypermedia. We've tried different formats, we've tried different prices, and we've tried different distribution channels. The thing is that we still don't know which, because it's just very recent, we still don't know which is the right price, the right length of the digital product, and the right format. So basically, it's trial and error. What we do know, nevertheless, is that we want to cover all the different versions, and what we try, and we've been doing for the last years, is to acquire all the different versions and to commercialize all the different formats and in all the different platforms.
In the case of Biblium, in our case, is an open platform where all kinds of formats are welcome. Starting from the point that this is a visual world. We know that the world of the past were more based in written letters, and now it is not so much that case. People use video more than ever. People use interactive tools more than ever. And of course, we also use books, and we also use podcasts in order to integrate a common offer where people can get all kinds of knowledge based on all kinds of formats. Moreover, as much as they use video, we have realized that they use more the books and so on. So the final idea is that make attractive knowledge, make attractive the contents, because all of them will fit the need of the others.
When we acquire something from an author or a developer, my idea is never to buy in all rights at the same time or to acquire as much as we can. I mean, with our own original IPs, of course, we develop everything from scratch. So that means that we own everything, we own all rights. But we're a small company, so even though we have our own animation studio in Vancouver, and we don't necessarily always create everything ourselves, we partner with the best possible partners everywhere. And I don't think that it's the best strategy to try to get hold of as many rights as possible. I know there are quite a few, especially publishers, who probably disagree with me, but I don't see any value in having a large IP portfolio just for the sake of having a large portfolio. If you don't have a very good business plan on how to monetize those various IPs in those various medias, then your whole portfolio has no value per se. I know a lot of lawyers and a lot of trademark specialists will disagree with me, and there are people who are much better at valuing IPs and valuing trademarks, for example. But that's my view, and it also applies when I work as an agent, when I represent other brands and individual authors. It's not always the best way to find one partner who will then take on as many rights as possible. I try to find the best partner in that particular media. It can be that a big publisher like Planet, for example, is the best partner. So then we can do a deal for several rights. We can do a deal for publishing rights. We can do always we do a deal for publishing and then digital at the same time, because it makes much more sense. But with TV, other kind of things, maybe it's not always the same. Maybe it's different partners. It depends on case by case.
I see. So, since we are in a digital distributor meeting, I would like to ask you, and when we have meetings with these digital distributors yesterday and every time we do that, we are always thinking on trying to think out of the box, reinvent ourselves and see where we can provide value to the platforms, to the publishers. We are in the middle. So, based on your experience, how do you use the distributors? What importance do you give to us in terms of being a key partner for you in this approach, the IP approach we talk about? Do you think we can provide value to you? Do you think that it's important for you, our role, or you think no?
In our case, it's very clear. Distributors to us are very important because we are open to everybody. And we look continuously channels and providers of content because our tool is very open, based on the fact that there is somebody in the world that can and want to learn something that you have, and you have something that somebody is needed around the world. So in our case, it's a very open platform based on collaborative economy, on where the platforms will provide the quality content that Biblion will need.
I might have a very traditional book publisher view on that, but my view on that is that I would encourage distributors to get into the digital active. I see distributors as I see ebook distributors. From a publisher point of view, what we need is what Libranda, for example, does. Just to work with the distributor, and that distributor sells and distributes throughout all the different outlets, all the different retailers, and all around the world. It will be great, I know Libranda is about to do it, but it will be great to have the same for online courses and digital actives. At the moment, for example, we have a number of courses, and we have to sell them ourselves to the different platforms. So I have an online course, for example. I upload it to my own platform, which is Planeta Hypermedia, but I also have to upload it to Biblion, and I also have to have somebody in my team to upload it to Coursera, and I have to have that same person in my team to upload it to Udemy, for example, to the number of platforms that sell online courses. What it will be great is to be able to work as we work with ebooks, just one digital distributor that go all around and distributes to all the different platforms.
That's good.
We work globally, And there are so many distributors, especially digital distributors around the world, so we can't possibly know them all, and we can't possibly understand what they're all good at. So that is why, when we're talking about publishing rights, I like to rely on the local publisher having the best knowledge in their territories. So I'm very happy to rely on their expertise. I can't claim to know all the distributors throughout the world. But on the other hand, we do work with various partners, especially in the digital world, where we work direct with a distributor. And that is a good way for us to distribute some content that's been in print, but it's been out of print for some time now. We're talking about the long tail, so we work with distributors like Sanoma in Finland or Epic in the US, a couple of Indian platforms. Those can be most of them are subscription-based, so it's a good way for us to both use the long tail for our authors and brands and also to try out new things. We had a couple of times when we had a brand or a series of books and haven't managed to find a print publisher for those books yet. So what we've done is we've distributed them through a digital distributor just to try out whether that content has that kind of, whether it has an appeal in that territory. And if all goes well, like for example with one of our animation brands which we represent for publishing, we started working with Sanoma, and then when we found a Finnish publisher for print, then we just gave them the ebook rights as well, and then just they get their share of the ebook profits as well. So I think digital distributors, they are a very important partner for us.
Well, that's good news. But I see when I hear you that you basically focus on us, on distributors, as the logistics part, no? The idea of I have the content. You said we want quality content that will come to a platform. You talk about spreading the content through this logistic task that we do. But there's a topic I want to ask you, because we can only do a lot of things related to marketing. One of the challenges I think that we have with this multimedia or hypermedia approach is the marketing strategies, digital marketing strategies that needs to be used for each format, because it's not the same a video than a book, than an ebook. So when we talk to publishers to do this, this is the thing that they are more scared about, no? Because the teams are not prepared probably in a publishing house. So how are you, as people that already started this process, approaching the digital marketing? Because it's not only to have the content in a platform. You have to move it, you have to make it visible. How do you do that? For me, it probably is the hardest part.
Yes, I agree completely with you. The hardest thing is the marketing, but the big challenge is to convince the author that the digital product is as important as is the book. Exactly. What happens? Like when an author publishes a book, for the author, it's probably the most important thing that will happen that year. It's like a new baby. Yeah. So they are happy and they require to have as much communication and promotion possible. They are happy to go on a tour. They are happy to do media interviews. Basically, they are happy to invest any time as necessary to promote the book. What happens when we do the digital active or the online course version is that sometimes they have the feeling that it's not it's like a spin-off. It's like a B-side product. It's not as important as the book. So the main challenge as editors, as publishers, is to convince them that they have to promote the digital active the same way they do on the books. Why? Because we have, through all the trial and error that I mentioned before, we know and we have the proofs now that when the author actively involves himself on the promotion of the digital active, this digital active becomes a commercial success. When the author does not involve, because it thinks like it's just a nice thing to have, but not something to feel proud of, the digital content it does not sell. So what we do now is that when we try to wait for at least 6 months between the book and the ebook on the online version. So the author does all the promo of the book as it is, and then it has free again to do another presentation, another media tour, everything that's involved with that, and we do it also with different tools as we do the book. Like the investment, the major investment, it's on digital marketing. This is AdWords, Facebook, Instagram. Everything that's digital, just to get to this digital customer that will be the one that buys the product, the digital course, but not the book.
Teaching and learning is changing so much and so fast. In the past, there were only a few sources to market our products. Now we have 7.5 billion sources to market our products, exactly the same number of population we have in the world. So as much as the people participate in the platforms, as much of attraction power we have to attract the best sources, finally, the way that we can market our products will be much bigger and much more intense. You are publishers, you know, because I guess some of you are publishing books of people who are YouTubers. So the source of the content is changing, is the opposite than in the past. Now we focus on marketed people in order to publish content, which is a pretty new strategy we have. So as much as we are able to attract and to provide tools in order to market the same products that we want to provide in our distribution channels, we are getting, I think, the key strategy point.
As an agency, we try to do our best to work as kind of a mediator between different licensees. So, for example, if we work with a brand that has publishing and merchandising, all kinds of items for sale, we might work as a middleman there to try to get those licenses to work better together. So, for example, if we have a plush manufacturer, we might work with a publisher to create maybe just a new ebook that can be then when someone buys those plush toys, they get a download code so that they can download an ebook. With Rovio, for example, when we work with the Angry Birds, we work very closely with Rovio so that our publishing partners can advertise their products within the Rovio games, for example. Or when we work with another gaming studio in Finland called Action Squad Studios, who have a new game coming out next January, they also have commissioned a series of graphic novels. So what we do is we work with publishers globally that they get in touch with the game creators, and the game creators, they can then link those publishers in the game so that the players can go direct from the game to either the publisher's own ebook store or their own sort of online store or to some third-party store. So the possibilities are sort of limitless, and I think it's very exciting for us as a middleman in there.
Mm-hmm. So, last question before opening the questions to the public. all these strategies make sense if they are sustainable economically talking, no? Because at the end we are all companies, we need to be profitable. So but it's hard sometimes because, as you said, sometimes you have your core business is the one that brings them a lot of revenue, and you don't. But the other formats can bring impact into this one. No? You can have a masterclass, and suddenly you give visibility to this author, and this will bring revenues in the book, for instance. All these connections in digital are very. So how can you analyze the value of building this strategy and building this portfolio of products for an author? I mean, it's not easy to measure and understand the value of these strategies. Sometimes you can. When we talk to some publishers, they can say, "I don't sell enough masterclasses, so I will quit this product." But they don't realize that maybe this masterclass is bringing revenues in other lines, no, for this author. So how can you approach in terms of economic analysis of this strategy in your companies?
I think there is only way is to listen what the people really want to have, in the way the people really want to have it. And to have a very quick answer in the way to adapt our offer to what the people really want to have. What is known for everybody of us is that everything is changing so fast, but we are not always listening what are the demands of the people. And we are not always reacting as fast as they need. So the way to know if we are in the right path is the impact we are providing to our customers, the impact we are providing to the market.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, regarding to money making, we have two different approach depending on the B2B side and the B2C side. On the B2B side, all the projects have to have a P&L that makes sense. We have to have a profit. We have to have a return, both us as a company and the authors that invest their time on that product for that company, right? So all the deals that we close on the B2B side are always deals with a return. And we pay we make money, and we pay the author just to prepare or to be part of that project. On the B2C side, we try also to have a margin, but we believe that on that side it's more important to learn than to sell. What I mean by that is that we don't really mind to invest. We don't really mind to not make money or not to have a return on some of the projects, because what we are gaining might not be money, but knowledge. And we believe that we have to be there, because it might not be a huge market now, as it was not ebooks 10 years ago, but we do believe that in the future it will be a market. So as much we know about that market, the best prepared that we will be for when that time comes.
I think that's a very good point, and I think we have a very similar approach, that with our own original things that we create on our own, we can always try out new things just for the sake of learning, whether there's a business model that can be sort of beneficial in, say, the next 10 years. So it's okay not to make any profits of our own IPs. Of course, we try to monetize as well as we can. But as an agency, well, of course, our main responsibility is with the IP owners. So it's not always that we can try out new things with other people's IPs. So in those cases, I tend to be a bit more cautious, because we have to think of the IP owner. Our main responsibility is to them, and it's not easy, but luckily we get to experiment with so many things and so many new platforms that hopefully in the future there's going to be so much more possibilities.
Okay, thank you. So we have 4 minutes. I don't know if there's any question from your side to the 3 people in the stage. Is there any doubt, any question? No? Everything is clear. Okay. Then I think that to recover the time that was previously lost, we have these 4 minutes for the next table. Okay. Thank you very much for being here.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.